Hi, this is Sarah Mikesell with the Poultry site, and today we're here with Dr. Brian Jordan. He is an Associate Director of Outcomes Research at Zoetis. Thanks for being with us today, Brian.
Thank you for having me.
Very good. And today, Brian and I are at IPPE 2025 in Atlanta, Georgia, and it's a very busy show today. And today we're going to talk about infectious bronchitis. So, despite having a vaccination program in place, infectious bronchitis virus outbreaks can still be a challenge that poultry producers face. Brian has been interested in understanding the outcome of respiratory vaccination programs, including opportunities to make the vaccination process more efficient and effective. So, Brian, we're going to dive into a few questions on this topic and let you enlighten us and give us a little bit more information. So, despite IB vaccination programs being widely adopted in the U.S. poultry industry, what are some of the reasons outbreaks can still occur?
Well, there are many factors that can influence your bronchitis control strategy. Sometimes we have variant viruses that emerge, and regardless of what type of vaccine or vaccine program you may not have protection against that new strain. Those events are often more rare, and we're working on being able to understand when those events may occur to try to head that off. But by far, the more common reason why we still have disease associated with infectious bronchitis is misapplication, mishandling, or poor application of our particular vaccines. All broilers in the U.S. are vaccinated against infectious bronchitis, oftentimes with multiple strains. And when we do this process for the number of broilers that are produced every day, and so many birds go through the hatchery, there's just a lot of opportunity for mistakes to occur, and we do see that happen.
What are some of the things that producers can do to support IB vaccination efficacy?
Well, the first thing would be to ensure that the vaccines are handled correctly in the hatchery. Some vaccines are frozen products that need to have care taken when thawing and mixing. Some are lyophilized that are a little more temperature stable, but can also be influenced by improper handling practices. The second step would be ensuring that your machinery in the hatchery is functioning properly to actually apply the vaccine to the chicks. There are different types of application cabinets, some spray, some gel, and all of them have certain pinch points within the system where a defect there can really influence the effectiveness of getting the vaccine to the birds. And then lastly, the follow-up step to that is just to go check with the birds to ensure that the vaccine actually got to the chicks. And that is a process called vaccine takes. And that's a service that we at Zoetis do provide, but it's a really good way to help understand how successful the process of vaccination was, in addition to how well your vaccines are reacting and replicating within your birds.
What are some monitoring steps that can help ensure an effective IB vaccination program?
So there are really two different places within the production cycle where monitoring or surveillance are very effective for infectious bronchitis. The first would be measuring vaccine takes, as I just mentioned. So somewhere 5 to 7 days post-vaccination, go in and sample chicks. You have real-time PCR now. That's a very rapid, cheap, and sensitive molecular diagnostic test that we can use to measure how many chicks got vaccine and how much vaccine they got. And with those metrics and with those numbers, we can also understand the influence that certain vaccine combinations have on each other. So it's not just one individual vaccine, it's looking at your whole vaccine program and building that program out to be the most successful it can be. The second step would be later in the life of the flock, doing routine disease surveillance. Most poultry companies do posting sessions once a quarter or so where they sample birds across all the ages in their complex. During that time, they're really doing a lot of intestinal health checks.
Right.
Coccidia is a major disease. But they're sacrificing birds to do these health checks. There are tracheas there that we can sample for our respiratory pathogens as well, and that gives us a very clear picture of how our vaccines are clearing from the flock, and then if and when any potential disease challenge viruses are actually coming into the flock. Doing these surveys every time you do a posting session, so if it is once a quarter on a regular cadence, builds you a very large data set to understand how each complex or each company or even each region within a complex is behaving year after year, season after season.
Got it. Very good. What's your take-home message about IB vaccination?
Vaccination for bronchitis, and this would be true for any of the live vaccines we give in the hatchery, is a very straightforward process that we repeat millions of times per week, right? And with that number of repetition, there are always ways that mistakes can be introduced. So ensuring that your birds actually get the vaccine is the first and probably the most critical step to building a good vaccine program to protect our birds from respiratory disease, from infectious bronchitis.
Very good. It's just so many things can happen when you're doing things kind of almost monotonously, right? You forget a little bit of the detail, and a lot of times the devil is in the details, right?
That's exactly right. The devil is in the details. It's something that we at Zoetis are very familiar with our history with Embrex and the amount of training and resources and knowledge that go into the process of the in novo injection side. For a long time, spray application of vaccines in the hatchery has almost been an afterthought, because when the chicks move through the spray cabinet, they get sprayed, they look like they have vaccine.
Yeah.
But until the development of these molecular diagnostics, we really didn't know how much vaccine they received. And so in the last 7 or so years, we've been able to do a lot of testing and develop a lot of data to understand not only that there were a lot of places where a lot of hatcheries that were not doing a great job of vaccinating birds, but that also all the vaccines don't behave the same way either. Not just within a particular company, within a particular strain, across different strains, between different serogroups, right? So there's a lot of nuance that we're learning now, again, with these diagnostic tools that we have to help build a better program, not just individual disease control.
And that's why your title is Outcomes, right? Because you're looking at all of these outcomes on the back end, really, I would think.
Yes, exactly. And that's my role here at Zoetis, is outcomes research, which is research to support our customers, right? It's developing and designing trials, developing data sets that are real world, that mean something to them, and that will help them be better in their processes to, again, control respiratory disease or whatever the project may be about.
Very good. Well, sorry, I took us a little bit off the sidetrack. Is there anything we missed, or any final thoughts that you had?
I would, in terms of controlling bronchitis and other respiratory pathogens, we offer a variety of services to support those programs, from hatchery visitation and evaluating, doing product or performance evaluations on your spray cabinets, to all the diagnostic assays that we provide as a service for our customers. And it's not just for bronchitis. We have a lot of assays that are new to Zoetis that we have introduced and rolled out in the last 6 to 12 months. And so I would just encourage anyone, if they do want to better understand how their respiratory control program is doing, to reach out, and we'd be glad to run some samples and generate some data.
Very good. Thanks so much. Really appreciate all your time today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Brian. This is Sarah Mikesell with the Poultry site.